The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council fell silent as the vote concluded. The enormous circular room housed representatives of more than 200 species, each seated in sections designed for their unique biology. Some needed water tanks, others required high-gravity seats, and some floated in anti-gravity bubbles. The Krill ambassador of the Zentry Confederation stood on the central platform. His blue skin glowed under the lights as he spoke through his translator. "The evidence is clear," Krill said. "In just 50 years since the discovery of faster-than-light travel, humans have developed military technology that took nearly centuries to create." Murmurs spread throughout the chamber. A holographic display showed videos of human warships and weapons testing. The ships were smaller than those of other species, but they moved with surprising speed and agility. "They have turned our medical scanners into weapons that can target specific organs," Krill continued. "They have adapted our communications technology to disrupt the ship's systems, and, most worryingly, they have developed defensive shields that we cannot penetrate." Captain John Miller sat calmly in the human observation box. He wore the dark blue Earth Alliance uniform with silver trim and a single star on each shoulder. His brown hair was cut short, and his green eyes watched the council's reactions intently. He took notes on his tablet, but said nothing. "Humans evolved in a world of death," said Hegemony's Vox ambassador. His insect form clicked its jaws nervously. "Your planet has thousands of predators, extreme weather conditions, and constant natural disasters. They spent most of their history fighting each other. War is in your DNA." More murmurs filled the room. Some representatives looked at the human observation box with new concern. "I propose a formal warning to all council species," Krill said. "No one should provoke humans or interfere with their territory. They are not aggressive if left alone, but their response to threats is excessive." The Great Arbiter, an ancient being from one of the first space races, raised a long, thin arm. "Does anyone speak out against this proposal?" Surprisingly, one of them did. General Zark of the Draxian Empire stood up from his seat. The tall wore ceremonial battle armor with reptilian figures covered in symbols of past victories. "The council becomes more lenient," Zark said. "These humans are primitives who got lucky with stolen technology. My empire has conquered dozens of worlds. We don't fear a species that only recently stopped throwing spears." Captain Miller typed something on his tablet, his expression unchanged. The great referee's voice echoed through the chamber. "The warning is not a suggestion, General Zark. This is the formal position of this council. The Draxian Empire recognizes the council's position." Zark responded with a slight bow that seemed more mocking than respectful. The vote was called. Almost every representative raised a hand, tentacle or appendage in favor of the warning. Only the Draxian section remains immobile. The notice was officially registered. "All species on the council are advised to avoid military conflict with the humans of Earth. Its defensive capabilities and response to aggression exceed standard predictions. Previous models of behavior for new space races do not apply." When the session ended, Captain Miller left the observation box and walked towards the Earth Alliance embassy. Admiral Frank Porter was waiting for him there, his face serious and aged beneath his graying hair. "Well?" asked the Admiral. "The warning passed," Miller responded. "But the Draxians were not happy about this. Will they listen?" Miller shook his head. "I don't think so, sir." Their general practically laughed at the warning. Admiral Porter sighed. "So we need to prepare. If they come to one of our colonies." "I know, sir," said Miller. "I've already sent the report to Earth. The defensive systems of our outer colonies are being improved right now. Let's hope they're not needed," Porter said, looking out the window at the massive space station that housed the Galactic Council. "But if they are, then the Draxians will know why the Council issued the warning." Miller finished. Outside, ships of various designs moved through space, among them a small Earth ship prepared to depart, carrying Miller's report and a single message: possible conflict ahead. Be ready. 3 months have passed since the Galactic Council's warning. Life continued as normal on the small human mining colony of New Hope on Proxima Centauri V. The colony was home to just over 200 people who worked to extract rare minerals from the planet's crust. Commander Susan Ross stood at the observation window of the colony's main building. She was a tall woman, with short blonde hair and eyes that didn't miss anything. The blue uniform jacket was unbuttoned, revealing the standard black t-shirt underneath. She sipped her coffee as she watched the miners return from the morning shift. "Commander, we're picking up some unusual readings," said Kevin Barnes, the young communications officer. His face looked worried as he looked at the screen. "What type of readings?" Susan asked, walking to her station. "Ships, big ones, have just appeared at the edge of our system." Susan put down her coffee. "How many?" "5. No, 7 ships. They are not transmitting any identification signals. Send an alert to Earth. Then activate the defense systems," ordered Susan. "Maybe it's nothing, but I don't like unexpected visitors." The colony's small defense system has been activated. It wasn't much, a shield generator and a few automated gun turrets, but it was enough to fend off pirates or deal with the occasional dangerous local wildlife. 30 minutes later, the first shots were fired. The ships were swept away. Their sleek, reptilian-inspired designs were unmistakable as they entered orbit around Proxima Centauri V. They launched smaller attack ships that headed straight for the colony. "All civilians to shelter," Susan shouted over the colony's speakers. "This is not an exercise." The defense system activated automatically. Energy shields formed a dome over the main buildings while turrets tracked incoming ships. The first wave of Draxian fighters broke through shields like water through rocks, but there were too many of them. "We need to hold on until help arrives," Susan told her small security team. "Earth will send ships as soon as they receive our message." Jack Wilson, his second-in-command, checked his weapon. "How long will it take?" "At least 2 days." Jack nodded grimly. "We will do what we can." The battle lasted 16 hours. The colonists fought bravely, but they were miners, not soldiers. The shields failed first. Then the towers were destroyed one by one. The Draxians landed troops outside the main complex and began forcing entry. Susan organized a final defense in the central building. They barricaded doors and armed anyone who could carry a weapon. Children and elderly settlers hid in the deepest shelters. "Why are they attacking us?" asked Mary Kim, a geologist who now held a mining laser converted to function as a weapon. "We are just a mining colony." "Because they can," Susan replied. "They think humans are weak." The Draxians broke through the last door just after midnight. His soldiers wore heavy armor that shined with energy fields. Their reptilian faces were hidden behind helmets with glowing red visors. "Surrender now," the commander said through a translator. "Resistance is futile." Susan stood tall. "This colony is under the protection of the Earth Alliance. Your actions are an act of war." The Draxian commander laughed. "The Earth Alliance is too far away to help you." The fight that followed was brief but fierce. When it ended, 37 colonists were dead. The rest, including Susan, were taken prisoner and boarded on Draxian ships. As they walked away, Susan caught a glimpse of Jack's body lying near the entrance. He died defending a group of children. Light years away on Earth, Admiral William Carter was awakened by an urgent message. He read it once, then again. His face became hard as stone. "Call me the president," he told his aide. Now, President Laura Mitchell was in the middle of dinner when she got the call. She listened without interrupting as Admiral Carter explained the situation. When he finished, she closed her eyes briefly. "How many dead?" she asked. "At least 37 confirmed. 52 taken prisoner and the Draxians. They are still there, exploiting our resources." The president's voice was calm but cold. "Prepare the fleet, Admiral. This won't last." As President Mitchell ended the call, he looked out the window at the night sky. Somewhere out there, humans were suffering. The Draxians made a terrible mistake. The Earth Alliance diplomatic vessel, Olive Branch, moved slowly through space toward the border of Draxian territory. It was not a warship. Its elegant white hull bore no weapons, and its shields were designed for navigation through asteroid fields rather than combat. This was intentional. Ambassador Peter Garcia stood on the bridge, hands clasped behind his back. He was an older man with graying hair and deep wrinkles around his eyes from years of difficult negotiations. His gray suit was perfectly pressed, and the Earth Alliance badge on his tag gleamed in the ship's lights. "We are being called by the Draxian Border Patrol," the communications officer said. "Open the channel," Peter replied. His voice was calm and measured. The screen appeared to show a Draxian officer. Its scales were dark green with golden patterns that marked its elevated position. "State what you want, human." The Draxian said, "I am Ambassador Peter Garcia of the Earth Alliance. I carry a message to Emperor of Orcs about the attack on our colony and the taking of our citizens as prisoners." The Draxian's eyes narrowed. You will be escorted to Dracus Prime. Any deviation from the established path will be treated as an act of aggression. Understood, Pedro replied. We came in peace. 2 Draxian warships appeared and positioned themselves on either side of the olive branch. The small diplomatic vessel seemed tiny among them. On Dracus Prime, Emperor Vorix waited in his throne room. The chamber was vast, with high ceilings and walls decorated with weapons and trophies from conquered worlds. The Emperor himself was larger than most Draxians. Its scales are deep red with black spots. A crown of metal spikes rested on his head. The human ambassador approaches. Your Majesty, a court official announced. Bring him, said Vorix, his voice a low rumble. Let's hear what these soft-skinned creatures have to say. Peter entered the throne room alone. He showed no fear despite being surrounded by Draxian guards. He stopped at the designated spot before the throne and bowed slightly. Enough to show respect, but not submission. Emperor Vorix, I bring a message from President Laura Mitchell of the Earth Alliance. 3 days ago, your forces attacked our mining colony on Proxima Centauri B. 37 of our citizens were killed and 52 were taken prisoner. We request the immediate return of our people and reparation for the lives lost and damaged. Murmurs filled the throne room. Most were amused by the humans' boldness. Emperor Vorix leaned forward. Their small colony was in territory. The Draxian Empire claimed it. The fact that you are still breathing shows our mercy. Proxima Centauri has been recognized as human territory by the Galactic Council for over 15 years. Peter replied evenly. Their attack violated not only our sovereignty, but also the Council's recent warning. The Council does not rule the Draxian Empire. Vorix said, standing now. He towered over the human ambassador. Your people are now subjects of our empire. If Earth desires peace, you will recognize our claim to the Proxima system and pay tribute. Peter's expression didn't change. This is not acceptable. Return our people and withdraw from our territory. This is not a negotiation. It's your only chance to avoid conflict. Laughter erupted throughout the throne room. Even Emperor Vorix joined us, his deep laugh echoing off the walls. A small species threatens the Draxian Empire. Vorix said when the laughter died down. An empire, spanning 42 star systems. Your bravery borders on insanity, Ambassador. It's not a threat, Peter replied. It is a warning and an opportunity. We prefer peace. Your preference is noted. Now go away before my patience runs out. Your people stay with us. Peter bowed again, as lightly as before. As you wish. But remember this moment, Emperor Vorix. Remember, we tried diplomacy first. When the olive branch departed from Draxian space, Peter sent an encrypted message to Earth. Diplomatic solution rejected. Unreleased prisoners. Waiting for further instructions. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Kate Harrison moved silently through the shadows of a Draxian military base. Her dark uniform helped her blend into the darkness as she placed small devices on the walls and under the consoles. No one saw her enter, and no one would see her leave. But soon Earth would know exactly where its people were being held. The Draxian security officer yawned as he checked the monitors. Nothing unusual happened during the night shift in Prison 12. The captured humans were kept in the lower levels, away from any possible escape route. He picked up his drink and froze. The security system showed everything was clear, but he could have sworn he heard something in the hallway outside. The door opened. The Draxian only had time to see a human figure before everything went dark. Colonel Ryan Howard stepped over the unconscious guard and went to the security console. He was a tall man with a shaved head and dark skin. His black tactical suit absorbed light rather than reflecting it, making him nearly invisible in the shadows. 3 other humans with similar equipment secured the room. Status? Ryan asked quietly. All guard patrols were neutralized, Sergeant Lisa Moore reported while working the security system. No casualties on either side. They will wake up with headaches in about 6 hours. Prisoner locations. I got it, said Lisa. 3 levels down, East Wing. 52 signs of life, corresponding to human standards. Ryan nodded and touched the communicator to his ear. Teams 2 and 3 head to the extraction points. We have 30 minutes before the system reboot reveals our presence. Throughout the Draxian military base, 12 more humans move like ghosts through corridors and access tunnels. They disabled cameras, planted devices on walls, and avoided patrols at the perfect time. None of the Draxians saw them coming. Deep inside the prison, Commander Susan Ross looked up as the cell door opened. Suddenly, she had lost weight during her 3 weeks in captivity, and her face was bruised from the interrogation sessions. However, his eyes still burned with defiance. "Who are you?" she asked as a figure dressed in black appeared. "Colonel Ryan Howard, Earth Alliance Special Operations," Ryan said, handing him a small gun. "We are here to take you home." Susan looked at the gun and then at Ryan. "How did you find us? How did you overcome their defenses?" Lieutenant Harrison's information was perfect. Ryan responded with a small smile. "As for their defenses, let's just say that humans are good at being sneaky when we need to be. Can you walk?" "I can run away if it means leaving here," Susan said, standing up. Within 20 minutes, all 52 prisoners were free and moving through a maintenance tunnel that led to the surface. The weakest were carried by the rescue team. No alarms sounded. No shots were fired. 3 small human ships waited in a canyon 2 miles from the base. They were unlike any vessel the Draxians had ever seen. Angular, matte black, and seemingly absorbing the scans passing through them. "All aboard," Ryan ordered, quickly and silently. When the last prisoner entered the 3rd ship, Ryan took out a small device and pressed a button. Ton. Throughout the base, tiny objects placed by his team activated, releasing microscopic nanobots into the air. These invisible machines floated through vents and hallways, linking to weapons systems, communications arrays, and power generators. The 3 human ships rose silently into the night sky. No Draxian sensors detected them. No defense. System activated. They were halfway to the jump point when Ryan received a message from Earth. "Prisoners safe," he reported. "Mission accomplished without casualties. Ready for Phase 2. Admiral William Carter's voice rang out clearly. "Excellent work, Colonel. Bring our people home." Authorization granted for the 2nd phase. Ryan looked at Susan, who was sitting across from him on the ship. "You might want to watch this," he said, activating a screen that showed a view of the Draxian military base they had just left. Admiral Carter's voice spoke to the 3 ships. Nanobots activated. On the screen, the lights of the entire Draxian base flickered and went out. Defense turrets turned off. The communication arrays fell silent. The ships on the landing pads suddenly lost all power. Within 60 seconds, the entire Draxian military headquarters went blind. Deaf and helpless, without a single Draxian life lost. "What happened?" Susan asked with wide eyes. "We show restraint," Ryan responded. "We could have killed them all. But that is not our path. Not yet, anyway. This was just a message." As their ship bounced faster than the speed of light back home to Earth, the Draxian base erupted into chaos. Emperor Orcs would soon receive reports that the humans had done the impossible, penetrated his strongest defenses, rescued his people, and disabled an entire military installation without firing a shot. The message was clear. This was just the beginning. Emperor Orcs slammed his fist against the war table, shaking the holographic displays. His advisors shuddered at the display of anger. The Emperor's scales darkened to a deep red, a sign of his anger. As he roared, "How do they enter our most secure facilities, take our prisoners, and leave without a single alarm?" General Drax, head of military operations, bowed. "Humans use technology we've never seen before, Your Majesty. Their ships absorbed our scans rather than reflecting them, and the nanorobots they left behind back. Our scientists are still studying them." "I don't want excuses," said Vorix. "I want revenge. Prepare the armada." The general looked up in surprise. "The whole armada? For a small species. They humiliated us," Vorix hissed. "Let's crush them completely. Show the galaxy what happens when someone challenges the Draxian Empire." 3 days later, 300 Draxian warships gathered on the outskirts of their territory. Each ship carried enough firepower to destroy a city. Together, they represented the greatest military force in the known galaxy. General Drax stood on the bridge of the flagship, reviewing the attack plan one last time. "We will jump directly to the 4th planet of the human home system, what they call Mars. From there, we convey our demands. They will surrender immediately when they see our strength." The Emperor watched from his throne on the same ship. "Begin the jump sequence." In perfect formation, the 300 ships disappeared in faster-than-light travel. On Earth, in a secure underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Nicole Bailey worked on her computer terminal. She was a small woman with curly red hair and glasses that slid down her nose. Despite her youthful appearance, she was Earth's greatest expert in quantum physics and had spent the last 10 years developing technology that most humans didn't even know existed. Admiral Carter stood behind her, watching as she ran her final simulations. "Are you sure this will work?" he asked. "In theory, yes," Nickel replied, without taking his eyes off the screen. "In practice, we have never experimented on this scale before." The Draxians launched their fleet. President Mitchell said as he entered the room, 300 ships heading directly to Mars. Nickel nodded. "This is actually good news. Mars is the perfect location." "Like this?" the president asked. "We've had quantum defense satellites around Mars for 5 years." Nickel explained. "It was our first large-scale test site." Alerts flashed on the screens. "The Draxian fleet has reached Mars orbit. They are transmitting a message," a communications official said. "They are demanding the immediate surrender of Earth, or they will destroy every colony in our system, one by one." President Mitchell's face hardened. "They attacked our people. They took our citizen prisoner. And now they threaten our home." She turned to Nickel. "Doctor, you have authorization to activate the defense network." Nickel's fingers flew across the keyboard. "Quantum field generators coming online. Active segmentation systems. Formation of time bubbles in 3, 2, 1. In space around Mars, invisible fields of energy enveloped each individual Draxian ship. From the Draxians' perspective, everything outside their ships suddenly froze. Communications between the vessels were interrupted. The weapon systems that were being powered up stopped responding. On the flagship, Emperor Vorik stood confused as his screen showed nothing but static. "What is happening?" he demanded. General Drax checked his instruments. "Our weapons will not fire. Communications went down. We can't reach any other ships." "How is this possible?" Vorik asked, real fear in his voice for the first time. Back on Earth, Nickel looked at the president. "All 300 ships are contained within localized time dilation fields. For them, time passes thousands of times slower than for us. They are essentially frozen in place." "Can they escape?" asked Admiral Carter. "Not with current technology," Nickel replied. "Each ship is in its own bubble. They cannot communicate with each other or fire their weapons." President Mitchell nodded slowly. "We now send our response." A single Earth ship approached the frozen Draxian fleet. The ship was small compared to the massive Draxian warships, but it moved with purpose. Its elegant design seemed more artistic than military, with smooth lines and a silvery blue hull that reflected distant sunlight. Major Daniel Green was on the bridge, his hands clasped behind his back. He was younger than most officers of his rank, with short brown hair and serious blue eyes. His uniform was simple, a dark blue jacket with minimal markings indicating his rank. "We are in position," said the pilot. "All Draxian ships remain in temporal stasis, except their flagship. Dr. Bailey released only this one from the field as ordered." Daniel nodded. "Open a channel for your flagship. Visual and audio." The main screen came to life, showing the bridge of the Draxian ship. Emperor Vorik sat on his throne of command. His scales were now a mixture of red and black, colors that showed anger and fear. General Drax stood beside him, trying to maintain his dignity despite the confusion evident on his face. "This is Major Daniel Green of the Earth Alliance," Daniel said calmly. "I have been authorized to speak to you about your current situation. What have you done with my fleet?" Vorik demanded, his voice shaking with anger. "Their ships are currently trapped in localized time dilation fields," Daniel explained as if he was discussing the weather. "For your flagship, we allowed time to flow normally so we could have this conversation. The rest of your fleet is experiencing timing at approximately 1/1,000,000th of the normal rate." General Drax stepped forward. "Impossible. This technology does not exist." Daniel smiled slightly. "Yet here we are." He paused, letting reality sink in. "Emperor Vorik, you have already invaded our territory twice. You killed our citizens and took prisoners. Despite this, we are prepared to offer you one last opportunity to retreat and negotiate peace." The Emperor's laugh was hollow. "You think having some of our ships trapped gives you the advantage? The Draxian Empire has thousands more ships. We will never surrender to the primitive apes who have just learned to leave their planet." Daniel's expression didn't change. "I was afraid you might say that. Please note." He nodded to someone off-screen. A moment later, 50 Draxian warships simply disappeared from space. On the flagship, alarms sounded as officers frantically checked their instruments. General Drax looked at their displays in disbelief. 50 ships disappeared. No explosions. No debris. They were simply gone. Daniel's voice remained calm. These ships and their crews have been teleported to the heart of your system's sun. They no longer exist. For the first time, real fear clearly appeared on Emperor Vorix's face. This is not possible. The Galactic Council has warned you not to provoke us. Daniel continued. They understood what you didn't understand. Humans evolved on a planet that tried to kill us every day. We spent thousands of years fighting each other, perfecting the art of war. When we finally found peace among ourselves, we turned those same creative minds to science and exploration. Daniel leaned forward slightly. Every weapon you developed for war, we developed 10 for defense. We could destroy your entire fleet right now, but we chose not to. Instead, we will release your remaining ships with enough energy to return to your home world. The time fields around the Draxian ships began to flicker. Lights on vessels dimmed as systems restarted with minimal power. Go back home. Emperor Vorix, said Daniel. Tell your people what happened here today. Explain to them that you bet their lives on a war he couldn't win. The Emperor's voice was little more than a whisper. This is not over. For your sake, I hope so, Daniel replied. Because if they attack us again, there will be no more warnings, no demonstrations, no mercy. His voice got harder. We could have destroyed you all. Remember this. Communication has ended. Daniel watched as the Draxian ships slowly turned and limped away from Mars, heading back towards their territory. On the command deck behind him, his crew remained silent. They had just witnessed history, the day when the Draxian Empire, which had conquered dozens of worlds, retreated in fear at a display of human power. Send a message to Earth, Daniel said calmly. The demo is complete. The Draxians are withdrawing. As the ship headed home, he hoped the message had been clear enough. Because if it weren't, if the Draxians returned, the next meeting wouldn't end with the demonstration. News of the confrontation on Mars spread quickly across the galaxy. Within days, the Galactic Council called an emergency session. For the first time in its long history, representatives attended virtually instead of in person. Many cited security concerns. No one wanted to admit they were scared. The Grand Arbiter's hologram flickered in the center of the virtual meeting space. This Galactic Council session is now open. The matter before us is the conflict between the Draxian Empire and the Earth Alliance. Images appeared showing the Draxian fleet trapped in time fields and the 50 ships that disappeared. The recordings spread across all communication channels in the galaxy. Humans have demonstrated technology far beyond what should be possible for their stage of development, said Zentary's Krill ambassador. The ability to manipulate time itself. To teleport objects across great distances. These are theoretical concepts for most of our scientists. They are monsters, shouted the Draxian representative, a minor officer sent in Emperor Vorix's place. They murdered 50 ship crew without warning. After you attacked their colony and threatened their home world, you counterattacked another ambassador. Warning has been given. Your emperor chose to ignore you. The arguments continued for hours. Some species have called for sanctions against Earth for its excessive response. Others wanted to form alliances with humans, hoping to gain access to their technology. Some have suggested extreme measures, containment, or even elimination of humans before they become too powerful. Finally, the Grand Arbiter raised his hand for silence. We will listen to the representative of Earth. The human who appeared at the center of the council was not a military or political officer. Dr. Alan Ward was a history professor at a university in what humans called Boston. He was an older man with gray hair and a beard, wearing simple clothes instead of a uniform. My name is Dr. Alan Ward, he began. I am neither a diplomat nor a soldier. I teach human history. President Mitchell sent it to me because she thought you might need context for what happened. He walked through the virtual space, hands clasped behind his back, like a speaker addressing students. For most of our history, humans have fought each other. Tribe against tribe, nation against nation, ideology against ideology. As your species explored space, we invented new ways to kill each other. Images appeared, ancient humans with spears, medieval knights with swords, modern soldiers with guns, and finally the mushroom clouds of nuclear weapons. We almost destroyed ourselves many times, Alan continued. Every war has taught us something. Each weapon pushed us to develop better defenses. When we achieved peace between us, War had already become a science that we had mastered through terrible necessity. He looked at each representative in turn. When we finally looked up at the stars, we expected to find friends. Instead, we found more than we had left behind. Empires conquering weaker species, reinforcing their will through force. So you decided to become the strongest, the Draxian representatives said bitterly. No, Alan replied. We decided to become the most prepared. There is a difference. The weapons we used against your fleet were defensive systems, not designed for conquest. 50 ships and their crews could disagree. The Draxian fought back. Alan nodded sadly. These deaths were regrettable, but your empire sent 300 ships to destroy our world. How many billions of humans would have died if you had succeeded? The council chamber fell silent. We don't want war, said Alan. We've gotten tired of it in our history, but we've gotten very, very good at it. The Draxians have been warned, both by this council and our ambassador. They chose aggression anyway. The Grand Arbiter spoke after a long pause. The council will vote on 2 issues. First, sanctions against the Draxian Empire for violating our warning and attacking a protected species. Second, a formal apology to Earth for our failure to prevent this conflict. One by one, the representatives voted. The Draxian sanctions were approved unanimously. The apology to Earth was approved only with the opposition of the Draxian representative. When the session ended, many representatives approached Alan privately, asking for meetings with Earth officials. Some offered commercial deals. Others suggested defensive alliances. Alan returned to Earth with a simple message for President Mitchell. The galaxy has noticed us now. For better or worse, everything has changed. 6 months after the Draxian withdrawal, ships from all corners of the galaxy arrived on Earth. Each ship represented a different species of the Galactic Council. Some were huge, requiring special orbits to avoid affecting Earth's tides. Others were so small that they could land in city parks. The occasion was historic. The first Galactic Peace Summit to be held on human soil. The chosen location was New Geneva, a city built specifically for diplomatic purposes on the shores of Lake Michigan. President Laura Mitchell stood on the main stage in the Peace Hall, watching as foreign delegates filled the room. His dark blue suit was simple but elegant, with just the Earth Alliance badge on his lapel. Behind her was a group of people rarely seen at such events. The families of those who died in the Draxian attack on the mining colony. Welcome to Earth. President Mitchell began when everyone was seated. 6 months ago, many of you feared us. Some still do. Today, we hope to start changing that perception. Cameras broadcast his words to every corner of human territory and beyond. Across the galaxy, billions of beings watched the summit unfold. Humans are not conquerors, she continued. We do not seek to govern others or impose our will. What we created, the technology that surprised many of you, was born out of our need to protect ourselves, first from each other and now from threats beyond our world. This entry's Krill ambassador nodded in thanks. His species was one of the first to approach Earth with genuine friendship after the Draxian incident. Today, we open our doors to the galaxy. President Mitchell said, not to show our strength, but to share our knowledge, our culture, and our hope for a peaceful future. Throughout the summit of Aana, Earth revealed sides of humanity that the galaxy had never seen. In the mornings, serious diplomatic talks and technological exchanges took place, but the afternoons and evenings were devoted to human culture, art galleries displaying paintings and sculptures, concerts featuring everything from classical orchestras to rock bands, food festivals featuring dishes from all human cultures. In an exhibit hall, Dr. Nicole Bailey demonstrated simplified versions of her quantum theories to fascinated alien scientists. In another, school children on Earth performed plays and songs for their interstellar visitors. Even Colonel Ryan Howard participated, leading alien diplomats through a garden while explaining Earth's many environments. Most surprising to visitors was the resilience of the human spirit. The families of those killed in the Draxian attack spoke not of revenge, but of the hope that such conflicts could be avoided in the future. On the last day of the summit, an unexpected visitor arrived. A small Draxian ship requested permission to land. The council was not Emperor Vorix, but a newly appointed diplomat named Tarek. Unlike most Draxians, his scales were a calm blue-green, and he wore simple clothing rather than military attire. Security was tight when Tarek entered the Peace Hall. Many humans watched him with understandable suspicion. Commander Susan Ross, now recovered from her time as a prisoner, was among them. Tarek approached her slowly, his hands open in a gesture of peace. "Commander Ross," he said through his translator, "I was sent to make the official apology to the Draxian people, not our emperor. He still refuses to acknowledge his mistake, but many of us disagree with the attack on his colony." Susan studied him carefully. "You are risking too much by coming here against your emperor's wishes." "Some things are worth the risk," Tarek replied. "The Draxian Empire has existed for thousands of years, taking what we want, but its people have shown us that there are limits to this approach." Their conversation continued awkwardly at first, then with growing understanding. Others noticed and gradually joined them: humans, Draxians, and representatives of a dozen other species, forming a circle of wary dialogue. The Grand Arbiter watched this interaction with satisfaction. Later that night, the Council voted to amend its official warning regarding humans. The new version read, "All Council species are warned that Earth humans respond to aggression with overwhelming force. However, they offer friendship and knowledge to those who approach them with peaceful intentions. Don't provoke humans, but don't be afraid to learn from them either." When the summit ended with the ships departing Earth, transporting new ideas and perspectives back to their home worlds, humanity took its place as a full member of the galactic community, not through conquest, but through a demonstration of strength and wisdom.